All the time and energy that you spend being jealous of other people, focusing on what they have, and feeling bad about what you don't is also the same time that you could have used to work on yourself instead. But a person who is insecure will probably not choose to work on themselves and instead stir up trouble for themselves and for everyone else because they feel like they have to be the winner, but they're actually not because you're staying mad about their jealousy. On the other hand, secure people know they're the winner, so they don't even need to do anything. I actually think it's a really brave thing to admit to being on the jealous and insecure camp. It's extremely self-aware, actually. But the feelings of jealousy is very difficult to manage without a good system. So in this video, you are going to learn how to transform these feelings of envy into something that actually empowers you. And also to empathize with where the jealousy is coming from if you are experiencing someone being jealous of you. I have definitely been on both sides and I know what it feels like. And I know that nobody comes out the other end a winner unless we actively change how we react to it. I think a part of this is also speaking towards a society where we all really just need to support each other more instead of putting each other down all the time. This really isn't your fault. This is just truly what our upbringing in this society has built us up to be. And it's something that actively works against us so that we keep feeling like we're not good enough. But we can undo this together, and we have to be very careful not to let this feeling of jealousy poison us. The ultimate goal here is to allow yourself to think that this is not a competition. We can all win. Other people can be amazing too, and so can you. And if we support them, maybe they'll support us back. So no more backhanded comments, no more cattiness, no envy, just I love you and I support you and you're the only person out there who's just like you, and I love what you have, and I love that for you. I'm making this video today with the honest perspective of someone who always used to be very jealous of people and always seeing the good in others and the good things that other people have and wanting those things but never seeing anything good in myself. Because there's always going to be someone prettier than you, skinnier than you, smarter than you, more articulate, or whatever it is your personal insecurity is. And I want you to understand that there's a way around this feeling of envy and jealousy that lets you actually build yourself up and recognize who your real competition is. Because once you do, nobody else is going to be visible. In your mind, there's no competition except maybe yourself, your ego, even the knowledge that you can learn from, but for whatever reason, maybe you choose to ignore it, or even like the toxic behavior that you might be feeding with every single continued thought of not being good enough. Maybe that should be your real competition. Hi my angels, I'm May and welcome back to my channel. So this video is actually highly requested from some of you guys, but I also just launched my Patreon where you get access to not only request submissions, but also early access to videos and you can watch them ad-free. My digital glow up and manifestation guides, which I do plan to drop periodically, as well as my safe space self-improvement community on Discord. So if you're looking to improve yourself and master the inner mysteries of your mind, thumbs up this video so YouTube recommends more videos like these to you, and subscribe to my channel if you like the vibe. Okay, so let's lock in on solving the issue of jealousy. Know where it comes from, and it's usually not from having something. We're constantly consuming everyone's highlight reel on social media. This is not healthy, and it can really hurt your self-esteem. I promise you that 99.9% of people on social media are not living the lives that they want you to think that they're leading. And this is why a social media detox may be helpful here, especially if you're trying to focus on working on yourself. It's object permanence, out of sight, out of mind. But there's also other reasons why we also feel insecure too, like childhood difficulties in our upbringing where maybe our caregivers may not be meeting our needs correctly as children, or even from us experiencing things like trauma. Also, discrimination can make us feel insecure. Just the state of, for example, being a woman of color, or facing any kind of oppression can all lead to us feeling a bunch of difficult emotions, including feelings of insecurity. And I think that it's so important to know where it comes from so that we can begin to do the work to heal ourselves. And maybe start from just knowing that the way you are doesn't make you any better or any worse than anyone else. No matter how society or how anybody makes you feel about it. Just know that who you are is not a weakness and it's not a disadvantage. Try and see the strengths from being who you are, and then use that to empower yourself and motivate yourself and rise above all the inadequacies that society tries to make you feel. Or maybe if it comes from not having your needs met, maybe start meeting yourself where you need it. This could look like food insecurity, financial insecurity, housing, job, school, or even lack of security in your own identity and knowing who you are. Where do you feel like you need more security, and how can you give yourself more of that? Especially as someone who's grown or as an adult, the role of having your needs are now yours to take on. And if you're still a teenager, like if you're still growing, make plans immediately. Don't wait for someone else to come along and do it for you, because only you have always been here for you, and everyone else will come and go eventually, but you will never leave you. And then maybe it's when we learn to meet our needs where we can actually start to accept those feelings of insecurity and jealousy as the byproduct of our upbringing and our environment, and really learn to accept that part of yourself, because everyone experiences jealousy. Or use your feelings of jealousy as inspiration and motivation. And I want to talk about specifically inspiration for a bit, because I think that it is such an important piece of transforming those feelings of envy and jealousy into something a lot more productive for us, and use that to build us up instead. And the way I see it, jealousy is actually a really useful emotion. The idea of surrendering to negative emotions can be extremely scary, but the more you are self-aware, the more you can accept that part of yourself and you let it come to light. But you're not just giving into it, you're putting gas in the tank and using it as your fuel for motivation. It's like looking in the mirror for you to see what you don't have, so that you can tell yourself, what I see in this person that I'm lacking is actually my desire. And then from here on out, you have two paths. You can either put that inspiration to good use by either working hard to get the thing that you lack, or to gain the knowledge that you need to seek out or to fulfill your potential. Amazing. Either that, or you can just do nothing and stay bitter and just keep indulging yourself in the negativity. But obviously, we're not going to do that, right? Make the negative things that you experience work for you. And specifically, the more skilled you get at something, the less you compare yourself to others and the more you can focus on your own personal growth. This is why it's so powerful for us to actually work on gaining our knowledge, specifically in the things that we feel like we lack knowledge in. And I know that gaining access to knowledge can actually seem like it's being gatekept sometimes, but I am not here to gatekeep. We should all have the ability to learn whatever we want at our fingertips. And thanks to Skillshare, who's sponsoring the portion of this video, if you're planning on investing in yourself this year, whether it's learning more ways to make money or getting better at your creative skills, joining one of the largest learning communities will be a smart choice actually to take your career, hobby, or even your side hustle to the next level by learning from thousands of classes taught by people who are masters in their craft, whether it's film, illustration, design, freelance work, self-development, productivity skills, and so on. And ever since I started my YouTube channel, I've actually had to learn a bunch of skills on the go all at the same time. But thanks to Skillshare, I'm actually able to find classes on things like video editing. Skillshare even has this learning path called Start Your Video Editing Journey with Adobe Premiere Pro. And without learning how to edit my videos, I wouldn't even have a YouTube channel. It's so cool that all these classes that I'm learning about right now apply directly to all the things that I'm doing. And even if I wake up one day and I want to learn how to knit or how to write poetry, I can learn how to do that. The first 500 people to use my link in the description box and also in my video will receive 1 month free trial of Skillshare. And that's an entire month for free to learn whatever you want. So get started today. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this portion of this video. So this is a cliche saying, but cliches are actually always so true. Gaining knowledge is gaining power. And when you have the power of knowing things and knowing how to get exactly what you want and what steps you need to take, you won't feel so much envy anymore. I truly believe that the feelings of envy and jealousy and feelings of not having something comes from a sense of powerlessness. There are so many other ways to gain knowledge, like reading, spending time to do research on what you're interested in, and maybe even learning weird facts and trivia. Like the more you know, the more you can fill your mind up with substance. You can even talk to or listen to people who have the skills and experiences that you want and learn from them. Then maybe you won't feel so intimidated and envious and actually realize how easily attainable knowledge can be. Especially if you're in college, I think that there's something so powerful in actually having that captive audience of professors and other people like your classmates being there to listen to you. Because when else in life will you get an audience like that? Think about it. Another tool that you can use here is grounding in your self-concept. For example, if I'm jealous of someone, I take the opportunity to ground myself in my identity, especially if I can't have what they have. Like, for example, I'm 5'3" tall, so obviously I can't be 6'5". And there's no use in being jealous of someone taller than me because I would drive myself crazy. But because I'm grounded enough in my self-identity, I can tell myself that there are so many perks to being my height. I can wear platform shoes, I'm not blocking people at concerts, I don't know if long limbs are for me, and there's just so many reasons. There are people out there who are even probably envious of me because of my height, and that's just one example. Or if it's something that can be fixed, I try even harder so that I can achieve what they have. I think that's such an important thing for me to say that jealousy is one of my biggest motivators, and I turn my jealousy into inspiration and admiration. It doesn't even matter who I'm jealous of, but it does matter what I'm jealous of and why. And I have to give myself the tools to go after what I need and the respect for my own limits when it's impossible. Like, for example, I cannot grow 2 feet taller, but like if you don't have clear skin and you're envious of someone else's skin, what can you do to get clear skin? Most of the time when we're looking outward and being jealous, it's because we don't even know what's going on with ourselves, and it's way easier to look at other people and see what they have. I struggled with acne for literally half my life, and then I finally got clear skin because a dermatologist prescribed medication for me that worked. And I healed my gut health, and I did like a lot of things, like I got better lifestyle habits, and now I would look back and think, why did I even have to struggle in the first place? I just needed to seek help and get pointed in the right direction. And for the longest time, I was so busy being jealous that I wasn't even looking at myself and my own problems and thinking about how I would solve it. But none of this would have happened if I didn't know that getting clear skin was possible for me. So the envy of clear skin was step 1 for me to get my clear skin. So with this in mind, why would I be jealous of, say, like a dolphin's ability to hold its breath underwater when we have oxygen tanks, we have snorkeling gear, or we can walk on land, and dolphins can't walk on land, or they give up the ability to walk on land. I even sometimes think, like, are they jealous of us? Probably not. So no matter how you feel or what you think, you are always going to be a reflection of your thoughts projected outwards into the world. And the world is a reflection of you. So I already taught you how to handle the feelings of jealousy in a realistic way, but what about the things that you can't control? And especially if you're young and life is going to hit you with all kinds of scenarios and probably more intense things later on, like marriage, kids, economic status, physical beauty, or even the eventual fading of physical beauty. The sooner you can learn how to process all of these things correctly and healthily, the better it will be for you so that you don't turn into a Karen. So now let's get into like talking about other girls or maybe other guys in a relationship. So a few of you have asked me specifically, what if I feel jealous about another girl in my man's life? What if your guy has a pretty ex? Well, my partner's exes are Brazilian models, so I can totally relate. I used to be so jealous when I was in a more emotionally unstable place and I couldn't really process my emotions correctly. And this was when we first started dating, and I was just tired of him bringing up his ex a lot. So I just talked to him about it, and I was like, hey, can you please stop talking about your ex? You're with me now. And then he never brought her up again. There's no reason that if he's with you that he needs to bring up his past relationships all the time, unless it's to tell you how amazing you are in comparison. But also at the same time, just know that nobody else out there is responsible for your feelings except you, and you need to learn how to communicate better if that's your issue. But also don't let your own uncertainty about your own feelings make that into like a point of gaslighting and manipulation from your partner. So you need to communicate with him, and if he's still trying to make you feel insecure, whether it's on purpose or not, then he's not listening to you. There's clearly something going on with him that he needs to hear from, okay? All I have to say is that if your man cares enough about you, he will actively try and work to make you feel like the only girl in the world that matters to him. Rather than to make you feel small and constantly insecure and on your toes and you need to fight for him, no. Forget that. He should be making you feel like you're the #1 priority. But if you don't feel like you are, then maybe you need to consider where you stand in the relationship and what you guys actually want out of it. So how do you deal with jealousy from other people? So thinking back, I had a childhood friend actually who was always very jealous of everyone, and whenever life doesn't go her way, she would throw a fit. And then it was actually really self-defeating because she always assumes that she's entitled to whatever she wanted. But the truth is, nobody's entitled to anything. It was the exact opposite of having gratitude, which is being thankful for the things that you have. So this whole thing has actually held back her whole life a lot, like immensely. And I have been the target of her envy growing up, and she would make me suffer a lot actually. Obviously, we're not friends anymore, but I had self-esteem issues growing up, and I would feel like I didn't deserve anything. But I think a part of why I'm so lucky and why I end up achieving a lot in my life is because I feel the constant need to work extra hard to get whatever I want because of who I am and because I didn't have certain privileges growing up. So when I finally get to have things, I am just in complete awe and disbelief, but I believe it, and so grateful, and I will always value and protect it so fiercely. So if someone or anyone out there is jealous of you, how do you react to it? When someone's jealous of me, I forgive them. I understand why they feel the way they do, and if they're important to me enough, and if they're not entitled, I try to help them have what they have. If these relationships in my life are important enough to me, I will actively try to turn the jealousy into my act of kindness. It doesn't even matter what they're jealous of or why they're jealous, but it does matter who is jealous. I have to see their jealousy for what it is, which is usually a cry for help. So some of you may ask me, okay, cool, this is all cool, but how do I actually get rid of jealousy? The easiest way to get rid of jealousy or any other difficult feeling that you might have is by doing the complete opposite. Instead, try and admire and find the beauty in other people and really just accept it and embrace it. Praise them for it, give them compliments, and most likely people will do the same with you. Because every time I compliment a girl, I feel like I'm also gifting myself the grace and the sweetness of receiving a compliment. So instead of glaring at someone and their cool outfit or whatever and wishing that you had it, that's not really a great feeling to have. So release the feeling as a compliment. Say things like, I love your style, I love your outfit. You'll make everyone around you feel good. And whenever you see a pretty girl and you feel uncomfortable, think of this. She's a queen. I am a queen. You could compliment her or smile at her because that's what a queen would do for one another. And this is especially if you are a competitive person and you see life as a competition. And when you see life that way, you are bound to lose something at some point. So why not eliminate the competition entirely? We can always tear ourselves up like looking at other people, or we can try and see what they're doing right. See these negative feelings as temptation or a barrier to getting what you want, and you push them away, push away the temptations, and actually focus on what we can do instead. Because as a secure person, respectfully, nobody else can be you. But also when you work on yourself enough to the point where you're comfortable with yourself, you will never want to be anyone else. And this, I promise you that. Guys, I hope that this was helpful for you. If you haven't given me a like already, please do thumbs up this video and also subscribe to my channel. And yeah, if you want to join my Patreon family, you can do so in the description box or I'll link it somewhere. And yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys. I love you all so much. And thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video.